delight to be here with you this evening and to work with Leo again, as we all have such admiration for him and the things that he does and how he has brought us all together. I had the privilege a few years ago of narrating the Four Seasons with him, and since I'm a non-musician, it was a very nice way to be brought into his music. But he has asked me this evening to talk a little bit about the International Day of Women that occurred this week. And I'm very happy to do that. I've had the opportunity of being a global photographer for a while. That's my passion, and then we got involved with the Autism Foundation. But when I have an opportunity to take off for a period of time, my passion is taking photos of women, children, health issues, and education around the world. And as Leo asked me to talk about this, I started thinking about a number of things, and the opportunity that I had this particular week of participating with Vital Voices at the Kennedy Center that recognizes women around the world and what they do, and the accomplishments and young and emerging women leaders from around the world. I came home on Wednesday night, and our autistic son and his tutor had been out that evening doing a few things, and I had a bouquet of flowers and a card to me saying, "Happy International Women's Day." And it kind of caught me off guard. His tutor that was with him is from Russia, and she proceeded to tell me how important International Women's Day has been in the life of Russian women and women throughout Europe. And it's something that we don't normally celebrate with flowers. We think much more of it with Mother's Day. But it has been a big deal for a lot in Europe and through some of the Southern Bloc countries and so forth for a long time. And it goes back almost 100 years. We became much more aware of things in about 1977 as the UN started to recognize things. I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of my opportunities to encounter incredible women. We're finding out that still today we do not have parity. In fact, this year is parity for women around the world. We don't have enough women around board tables yet, on boards of directors. With the Fortune 500, we still have only about 14% women. Now, it's not that we want to remove men from the tables, it's that we want more tables and we want 50% representation. We want to have the opportunity that the next generation, that we can tap into that talent and ability. And it's been said that women hold up half the sky. And if we don't have women and recognize their abilities and contributions, how much society is lacking when we don't participate and utilize and see the talents and abilities brought forward. In many countries, it is still looked at with women that they're incapable of doing things and that they're not ready for leadership, that they don't have the strength. But when you've been into some dark and interesting places around the world, whether it's with a camera or not, you can see places where young women, sometimes 11 or 12 years of age, have given birth in the middle of the night by themselves on dirt floors, and have lived to rear their children. Sadly, many of them have not lived, because in many countries, child marriage, child brides are a norm. Until we're able to adjust many things and change attitudes, the boardrooms, or the future of young women being put into marriage situations, and it's estimated that over 16 million young women each year are married under the age of 18. What type of a future does that spell for them and for our world? If I can point to some of the photos that I have here, I'll take just a moment. There's some interesting things and some commonalities here, and I feel it a privilege to have had a few moments with every one of the women here. We see Condoleezza Rice and Nancy Pelosi in an interesting moment at a funeral of a friend of theirs. Powerful women, and then down here in the center, there is a woman who is part of Parliament in Uganda. Women here are queens in Africa at the coronation of a king. In fact, a while after the coronation of the king, I had the opportunity of photographing his sister's wedding. I'm friends of the tribe, in fact, a member of the tribe in Uganda. And I came across this just by happenstance. It says, official all access, which gave me great freedom in going around a kingdom photographing kings, queens, and a princess. All access. That's what we need for women throughout the world in all endeavors of profession and opportunity, is official all access. This woman I found very charming in Guatemala, who was selling vegetables that she grew to support her family. The woman on the far side is the mother of a friend of mine from Uganda. She reared an incredible woman that helped shape my life and introduced me to many things, though her educational background and opportunities were severely limited, and who faced the horrors of Idi Amin for many years in Uganda. And the young woman with the child up there, that's from Myanmar. And I did have an opportunity to be with her, and we smiled and laughed and looked at that absolutely adorable child. I was unable to discern whether she happened to be the child's mother or his sister. She should have been his sister, but most likely she was his mother. Again, the future for the child and the mother, and look how beautifully he is looking at her and what trust he has in her. There is a comment here. Get to it. Actually, a couple of them. It is stated gender injustice is probably the greatest human rights violation on our planet. And Ban Ki-moon has put into words my feelings on a lot of these issues. It says, let us devote solid funding, courageous advocacy, and unbending political will to achieving gender equality around the world. There is no greater investment in our common future. Now, this evening on the program, Amy Beecher is going to be featured. I believe there's going to be 4 works by her. She was an American composer. Just a little over 100 years ago, she was born. But she was the first American woman composer to have a symphony published and performed. But how many centuries prior to that were men being recognized? She was prevented by her parents in pursuing piano training and other musical training. They kept her home rather than having formal training, because one of the things in polite society was not to have women on a stage. Heaven forbid. I think we're breaking a few norms now. But she married a man who was 25 years older than she. And she was stopped from her playing and her composing by him in large part, and was told by him that she could do 2 performances a year, even though she was a skillful pianist as well. She could do 2 performances, and then all the money had to go to charity. And instead of using her name, she had to use initials and then his last name. 25 years later, he passed away, and she was able to go on to Europe, where she gained notoriety and recognition and was viewed as being equal to the male composers in Europe. And then she returned home, and with the first symphony that has ever been composed and published by an American woman, in fact, by any woman. She is the person that is going to be represented tonight. In the beginning portion of the concert, there will be some things from her early life, and then one of her later works at the end. So musically, we're going to tune into this whole celebration and awareness of what women have brought into our lives. And most men you've had moms, right? You've got wives. I hope we can all come together and that we can remember the year of parity for women, and that this type of reminder, official all access, can be a reality. Thank you.